Welcome back, everyone, to R2Kast number 93. A very good and interesting episode today, travelling to a different continent. I'll introduce our guest in a minute. Last week, we spoke to Justine, a butcher in England, on Instagram as Rack of Glam, speaking about different challenges coming into butchery as a female, speaking about her battles with ADHD and the fact she's now found that sort of right career path. Next week, we're speaking to Thorfinn Armstrong. If you have any questions about research and development tax credit, maybe tax relief that you could find for your business, maybe free up some money, he is the man to speak to. So that should be one of those probably conversations that I have no idea what's happening. So yeah, if there's any questions about that, give us a shout. But today we are travelling to Cameroon. Well, we're not travelling, I'm still sat in Scotland, unfortunately. I'm sure it's much nicer in Cameroon weather-wise at the minute. We have Henry Bung as our guest today. Henry, would you like to say hello?
Hello to everyone listening to us.
Just before we get started with another episode of the R2Kast, I would like to thank our primary sponsors, A-Plan Rural. A-Plan Rural are heavily involved on the social media scene in the ag space with 120,000 followers on Instagram. They use this following to host social media takeovers with farmers throughout the country to showcase their stories. They also post to their rural community blog with further stories about these people in the industry. On top of this, they like to support initiatives that are championing the British agricultural industry, such as myself. So thank you to A-Plan Rural for that.
Looking forward to this. I always sort of like to hear what goes on in different countries, especially different continents, because it's such a totally different climate. So yeah, looking forward to that. Henry works for Fungom Farms, and if I've said that wrong, I apologise. I'm sure you'll correct me, which is a sort of community group looking at producing food for the local area. So Henry, could you tell us just a bit about yourself? Who is Henry Bung?
Okay, well, so thank you, and welcome to everyone listening to us. We are actually in Cameroon, yes?
Yep.
And this is the western highlands of Cameroon, which is a little bit of savanna, and it's rain, and yeah. So I'm Henry Bung, a logistics and supply chain specialist by training. So I've done a lot of jobs with mining companies, with telecom companies, and passionate with agriculture. So we've taken it up. That's where Fungom Farms actually is born.
Right, okay. So
yeah.
were you involved in starting Fungom Farms?
Yeah. Actually, we were from the start. That's in 2016. Well, we started on it started like an idea of doing something, and we've grown up to this. It's actually I&R. The I&R company is the parent company.
Yep.
So private limited company comes in with a vision and then get just the whole community involved. And now Fungom Farms actually means farms in Fungom subdivision. That's like a constituency, Fungom subdivision. Yeah.
Well, I was looking at your website, and the amount of things that you guys is doing is brilliant. I mean, it's not just food production. You're looking at sort of baking. You're looking at everything. Could you tell us a bit about what you guys are doing? Because it seems like there's a lot.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot. We started in 2016 with palm. So we actually produce palm oil, and it's already on the market. It's bottled already. So there's good for locally sourced palm oil, but carefully packaged. Not like in the plastic bottles and every stickers coded, everything. So we have good supplies of that. The second product that we have is the famous potato bread. Now this vision, it just came up in 2018 that we could actually transform potato into flour, because I've had with the Natural Resources Institute, their training in Uganda and Tanzania, trial session with transforming potato into flour. So that's what we actually emulating here. So in 2020, we have potato that is used locally, like to feed pigs and feed other livestock. We actually bring it onto table like a delicacy, like getting cookies, getting fries, and getting bread. So we're actually just changing the landscape, using what we have locally to improve its its shelf life or something, give it an added value. That's how we started with the sweet potato that you'll find on our website as well. And now, when the crisis in Ukraine, when the crisis in Ukraine popped up and the price of flour as well skyrocketed, we ventured more into cassava. So now we can produce potato flour, we can produce cassava flour, yeah, and corn as well.
And first off, on Twitter, if you're listening to the podcast, check out Fungom Farms on Twitter. There's some fantastic stuff. I mean, the bread looks amazing, but how does bread from cassava compare to that of bread from wheat? Is it still as nice, or?
Well, I think it's when you force the bread that we make from potato is far more healthier to consume than wheat flour, obviously. So that's the first thing. So it's a local produce, but it's of high value for food. Basically, you understand, Fungom Farms is more about food security and sustainable development. So food security simply means the right quality of food and the right amount for the people needed. Like with potato, you can get vitamin A, you can get pap for kids, you can get energy drinks before the flour as well. So it's all about adding value to a local product, creating wealth. Yeah.
But that's important. That creates jobs for those involved, and yeah, there's a knock. So you're growing wheat, you're growing potato, cassava. What else has been grown on the farm?
What we grow on the farm, we have like I talked about palm, we have sweet potato, we have cassava, we have corn, we have soybean, and groundnut. Just we're working in the 25 communities of the subdivision. That's what you should know. Fungom Farm, it's actually running in 25 communities. So we go to the community. It's some sort of the Kaizen. We're using the Kaizen model of things like in Japan, where we just want each community to be specialized in a specific product, so we can actually produce it to a scale of capacity of the community. So it's easy for us to get these farms in the 25 communities and let every community specialize in producing at least one of the commodities.
That makes sense. So you're not just trying to spread yourself too thin, and yeah, that makes sense. And I read that your feeding is about 370 families a month. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When we see 378 families, that's huge. That's in a community of 25 communities. Because in every community we've got a dedicated farm for specific products, and there are families in that community living basically on what we're doing. Yeah.
So, in your role, Henry, as sort of GM, are you involved on the ground? Are you still farming, or are you more management?
On like hands on deck on the farming.
Yeah.
I was just coming back from the farm, Wallace.
Oh yeah, okay, Grant. So you're still involved on the ground. You're still
yeah. If you need to transform some product, you need to ensure the quality of production. So you need to be down on the field, see what the people have been doing before. If I tell Wallace about my potato flour, I should be sure of the quality of potato I'm producing.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm quite interested in cassava, and the reason, or cassava, I should say, the reason I am is it just doesn't grow here in the UK. What's involved in growing that? When are you putting the seed in? Or tuber, I guess. How long is the production cycle of cassava? When's harvest? When is seeding?
Yeah, we have a very good variety of cassava. Obviously, we source it from the Institute of Research and Agricultural Development, ERAT, Cameroon.
Right.
So we have a memorandum of understanding with ERAT, and a lot of our seeds will be sourced from them under control, quality control for farm input, basically. So we have the species, the 8034 species, 8034 species, and that can take us from 6 months, depending on how you want it. You can harvest it from the 6th month or the 9th month, between the 6th and the 9th month. That's the life cycle for cassava.
And
Once we produce that, yeah.
No, sorry, continue on there, Henry. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, once we produce the cassava, it has derivatives as well. So you don't just have the cassava flour, but you have the cassava leaves as well, which is vegetable. Well, it's delicious.
So both are used, yeah. Both. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Everything is used, and the stems are replanted for the next season.
Oh, see. So what do you just eat the leaves as leaves, or are they processed?
Sorry?
Do you eat the leaves as leaves? Do you eat them as leaves themselves, or do you process them into something else?
No. You simply just process it. You could grind it, and it just becomes a vegetable, just like soup. Yeah.
Oh, see. I didn't know that. It's here. I'm learning something new. And one thing that interested me, Henry, was I noticed that it's not just crops on the farm. It's you've got livestock as well. Are you producing milk? Is there a dairy side to the farm as well?
Oh no, for the moment, the dairy sector is not set up, but we have that in plan for the future.
Excellent.
Yeah. But what we have now, with livestock, we've got pigs, we've got goats, and we have donkeys that we use to transport where the area is so remote.
Well,
a donkey could carry you one stuff.
I see. I did have to ask this. I was like, are you producing donkey meat? Is it donkey milk? Or so they're used for transport? They're not eaten.
I would just like to quickly interrupt the show for a minute to give you some extra information on our primary sponsors, A-Plan Rural. A-Plan offer bespoke cover for farms and estates the UK over, and will give you tailored insurance for anything on the farm, from your old workhorse tractor that's been around 20 years or a fancy new and exciting diversification.
It's basically used for transport for now.
Got you.
Yeah.
Because I was watching that, I was like, oh, never considered donkey meat before, but no, they're not used for that. That makes sense. Okay.
Like the one Jesus went to Jerusalem. I always think of it that way.
Well, everything's different. It's interesting. And are the pigs? I take it the pigs are for meat. Yep.
Yeah, the pigs are for meat. Are for meat.
No, excellent.
The chicken.
Oh, is there chickens as well? Do you use them for eggs or just the meat side?
Well, we actually have 6 sites where we're doing chicken for egg, and the site where chicken is for meat. Yeah.
It's everything seems to be covered. Like you've covered everything. There's every crop's covered, and you've got specialists in each side, which I think is good. It's not just everyone having a go at it and seeing how it's going. You're actually sort of got someone that focuses on cassava, someone that focuses on wheat, so on and so forth. And the same on the livestock side. Did I notice you had bees? Are you producing honey?
Yeah, we have honey. We actually harvested honey 2 weeks ago, and
right.
Now we have a plan of getting 300 hives on the palm plantation. To encourage pollination as well. The bees are really important. Yeah.
Excellent.
It'll be interesting for you to know that our concept of farming here is actually doing with what we have at our local level. Yes. So we basically do everything is interdependent,
Mhm.
right? Like we will cultivate corn, we will have to feed the chicken or the pig, but the droppings and the dung, I actually do I cultivate maggot, the black soldier fly maggot.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and that I can feed the livestock, and then the frail from the maggot is like manure for the garden. So it's a little bit of sustainable agriculture, except now the demand is so high that we definitely need to move to second generation agriculture with maybe tractors and yeah.
But that's good though. Though like that, I mean, you mentioned it's sort of built on food security. Food security is actually, I've got a master's degree in food security. It's something very of much interest to myself.
Wow.
Obviously, yeah, no, it's a cool topic. So the whole idea of that is, if you're based in Cameroon, why use resources that are in the States? Or if you're based in the UK, why use resources that are in Cameroon? You know, like it just goes against everything. So that makes sense, and that's how it should be. And I think
Yeah.
I think some other countries should take from that, and they should take a leaf out of that book and learn from that. I think I hate the term developed nations, but like countries like the States and that think they've got it all perfect, when in actual fact that's not the case. You know, I spoke to someone in Zimbabwe quite recently, and they spoke about biological and cultural control as well, and it's something that we talk about here, but I don't think we talk about it enough. So yeah, I think that's great to hear. I think it's so important that the world takes that on board. Yeah, it's fantastic. So are you moving? Are you moving at the minute into machinery, or is there already machinery involved?
Yes, that's our biggest well, I'll say a challenge, because I don't believe anything is difficult. It's just a challenge, because we need to get the right people supporting our vision, and we have shipping partners in the UK, where organizations who are interested in what we are doing. We have Temangwa Shipping. So you could note that it's a shipping company in the UK, which is a partner to Fungom Farms. So things like Jen said, things like tractors, we actually ship them through Temangwa. That's what we are looking at now. We really need organizations interested in what we are doing could help out in one way or another, especially with machinery for second generation. What I'm saying, we've struggled, we've put in place the processing plan, which is basically a miniature processing plan with stainless steel, of course. But now the machinery is here, and we need to increase production to fit the machine and then get more product on the market. You know, that's where we find ourselves with the challenge. Yeah.
And the trade side's interesting. You said you were in the West Highlands, didn't you? Is that what you said? Which is like West. Oh God, I'm really challenging my geography here. But West Cameroon is where the coast is, isn't it? Your coast is on the west.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we are actually the Western Highlands, which is away from the coast. The coast is Douala. Yeah, the coast is the port area of Douala. That's the coast.
It is on
in the Western Highlands. Sorry.
No, just asking. Is the coast on the west of Cameroon, like southwest, I guess?
Yeah, the southwest.
Yeah,
the coast is at the southwest. Yeah.
I mean, so you do have a fair bit. Sorry, on you go. Sorry.
We are actually in the northwest of Cameroon. That's the northwestern highlands. Yeah, where we have savannah. Yeah.
Well, it sounds lovely. First off, I mean, savannah is, well, from the things I've seen on the internet, for someone that's never travelled anywhere, it looks gorgeous. But I guess the troubles there is trade-wise. You know, you've got a fair distance to get to that boat, so on and so forth. Are you trading quite a bit within Cameroon and think Nigeria? That'll be near you. You'll be near Nigeria. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you trading within that sort of area as well?
Yeah, it's easy to trade from our region to Nigeria. It's easy to trade. There's really huge demand for our products in Nigeria, but the road network doesn't permit us actually get the product to the market easily. So we still sell we do mostly to fit the local communities. Like we talk about food security. We're just making it possible for the people to have the right food, the right quantity, in right quality. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And you're feeding. It was about 370 families, which is phenomenal, by the way. Fantastic. How many people are working at Fungom Farms?
How many people are working?
Yeah.
Like people who, I didn't get your question right, Wala.
So I mean, it could be people working in food production, people working in the bakery. How many folk are sort of involved in getting that food out to the local areas?
Oh wait, as of now, in the 25 communities, we're counting 73 employees. 73 people. Yeah, 73 persons that are directly focal points for Fungom Farms in the community.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Because
no, sorry, continue. On you go.
And I was just saying, this 73 persons, there are some that are volunteers and there's some that are actually staff that we're paying,
Right. Okay.
Yeah. What we want with the communities is we can give technical support, we can give farm input support, and then we collect the produce and manage it properly. What we're doing is just give an added value to the local product, So yeah.
No, brilliant. And Henry, tell us about Cameroon in general. I don't know anything about Cameroon. I'll be honest. Probably the thing I know most about Cameroon is Samuel Eto'o, which I assume is quite common. Watching him, a young Lionel Messi and an aged Ronaldinho playing together at Barcelona was quite something. But that's not to do with farming. But what's Cameroon like in general? Is what's the politics like? What's it like to live there? That sort of thing.
All right, that's a good one. Cameroon, if I'll tell you about Cameroon, it's simple. It's Africa in miniature. Everything you'll find in Africa, you'll find it in Cameroon.
Okay.
Talking about that will be simple. Like I was talking about the savannah, you have the savannah area, you have the forest regions, and then you have the desert regions, like in the north.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically have savannah, you have the forest, you have the desert, and then you have the coastlines in Cameroon. So Cameroon just involves just everything you'll find in Africa, yes. And it's a peaceful country. It's been peaceful for so long. It's true that we say the peace does not absolutely mean the absence of fighting also, but it's a peaceful country. Except in recent years where there's been upheavals, socio-political crisis to say, because the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, like where I come from, I'm actually in the northwest region, in the southwest region. Those are the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, out of the 10 regions in Cameroon. So we have 8 that speaks French, and then we have 2 that speaks English, and that means 2 different cultures,
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's some sort of a thing that has brought instability within and a lot of people to displacing. And that's one thing that we're fighting for too, because with the activities we're doing, it's just encouraging the young ones to know that they belong and then take up something rather than just looking at political which, yeah which we want to develop ourselves. Yeah, the political will too is lacking. I wouldn't say no, but the political will from our politicians, we see the will is not there to change the living standards of the people. Cameroon's got a lot of resources here. So if they were judiciously managed and actually manage the country like a private enterprise is managed better than what a public enterprise would be. Yeah, Cameroon is really a rich country. On tell you lie. I've worked on projects like with the mining iron ore in Balam, where Cameroon is ranked about the 7th in the reserve of iron ore here. And
really?
the project is, yeah.
Oh.
So Cameroon is just blessed. There's a lot of resources, I think. Yeah,
And you've obviously sort of got that.
we just need to look at a better way of managing them. Yeah, yeah, I just think so.
No, yeah, you cut out for a second there. Sorry for speaking over you there, Henry. But you've obviously got that sort of split of French speaking and English speaking. Is the president one of them, or is they are they? I don't know if it's a he or a she. Both French and English speaking.
Did you ask about the president?
Yeah, like it's you mentioned the sort of split of French and English speaking regions, 8 French, 2 English. Is the president either one of those two or both?
That is the president one of those two or both?
Like is the president English speaking or French speaking, or both? Speaks both French and English?
No.
I hope you've kicked your feet up and got comfy and enjoying another fantastic episode of the R2Kast with another really interesting guest. I would just like to quickly take another second to plug the sponsors of the show today, the Scottish Farmer, and I would strongly advise you to go out and pick one up this week and see even more of the fantastic people that are in our industry.
Yeah, he speaks both French and English, but he's French origin. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, he's from the French. Yeah.
And does that cause problems? That you mentioned that sort of split and that sort of thing, and you've got to make sure that youngsters feel part of everything. But if you're in a region that's primarily French speaking, is that difficult for an English speaker and vice versa?
Oh well, it will depend upon the sector of activity you're getting into. It's well, the country's been so because of you understand. It's actually after the German rule that Cameroon had separate rule, the French side and the English side, which was Britain. Now Britain was attached a little bit to Nigeria, so that's why we learned the English culture. And definitely over the times, I think there are plans on the way, or there's actually plans in place for the English-speaking regions to have a better management of their own activities. Like recently, they were actually given a special status. A special status will obviously spell on the constitution that the two regions will have other benefits that other won't have. They are minority. They have their culture. They have their educational systems and things. So just to facilitate that, I think. Yeah.
And you've mentioned youngsters a couple of times. Is agriculture, is farming taught in schools? Is that a thing for youngsters?
Yeah, well, that's a good one because that is what we were expecting the schools to be doing, not just literature. So that's why you will find out we also operate a vocational training center.
Right.
So our vocational training center is just to give the young ones the required skills for agriculture and let them know agriculture is not just a lifestyle, it's a business, People, yeah. So sometimes in on the ages our parents will simply go to the farm because they know when you get up in the morning, the next thing you have to do is go to the farm. But we're changing that one. If you're going to the farm, have a plan, a clear plan of why you're going to the farm and where you'll be when you come back from the farm. Like I'll tell you, I will do 3 or 4 hours in the morning on the farm, and I'll be back by 11, 12, and I can handle, like I'm talking with you now, Wallace, but I just came back from the farm. Yeah.
But
it's all
that's
about organization.
that's such an important message, because I think farming in general is sold on this lifestyle thing, and yeah, it is an enjoyable lifestyle for sure, but you've got to make income, you've got to make money. I think that's important that's and that's being pushed, if you wish. No, here, Henry, it's been great fun to learn about a different country, great fun to learn about farming in that country, and you're just so happy and positive. I love it. I could speak to you forever. Been a pleasure.
I love what I do.
Dear,
I
what
really
more,
love what I
what more
do.
can you ask for? What more can you ask for than loving what you do? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, well,
I
before
like eating the food I produce.
eating
I
that
love
food,
eating food I produce.
yeah, that's amazing. And it's it's my mum and dad are quite like that. They produce a lot of their own food, and there's something quite, there's been emotion put into what's on your plate. That's important. And you can see that. You can see that when you're talking.
Sure.
There's two questions I ask everyone at the end of a podcast, Henry. And the first one is where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you see yourself doing in 5 years' time? What is 5-year-older Henry Bung's story?
In 5 years, I think I will have as many farmers, trained young ones who actually been looking up and doing what we're doing now, so we can have a multiplier effect. Basically,
Excellent.
yeah. So that's all. It's actually sharing. We think it as a mission to share knowledge of processing local products, and so you will always have the food you had when you were small, but packaged and well. So I can even send you some to the UK.
Yeah, I would never say no. Never say no. And no, brilliant.
So like I said.
No, on you go. Sorry, there's just a wee bit of a delay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, like I was saying, we see ourselves in 5 years. We must have moved to a second generation, some sort of agriculture, because we need to increase production from like now a lot of it we've been doing manual. So in the communities, we only get ourselves together and work as a team manually or with small not small tools like small tillers, the ground tillers, auger drill rig. We have all that in place that we use for holes, for tilling and all. But we want things like tractors for like really increased production.
Yeah, that seems like the natural next step. Yeah. And the other question I ask everyone, Henry, is if you had tips, if you had advice for people coming into farming, especially in Cameroon, what would they be?
Advice for those who want to come into farming.
Yeah.
All right. Farming is a good thing, but it's not a get rich quick some sort of a thing. It's patience. You savor the journey. You go through it. You actually savor the moment in farming and enjoy just every piece of it. It's not a get rich scheme. No way.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. But rewarding. Yeah. I mean, you show, you clearly, you've said you love what you do, and that's clear. That's also important, So yeah, no, I think it's not a get rich quick scheme is very true, but it's a good lifestyle as well. Now you've got to balance the two, as we've said, but no, very good. No, listen, Henry, as I said, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. It's been a pleasure to chat. What was that? Sorry.
I mean, we're more pleased to talk to you. We're more pleased.
Oh, well, how kind! Thank you. And here, if I'm ever in Cameroon, I don't know why that would just happen. I'm sure there'd be a reason I'd be in Cameroon. I will have to get.
Sorry, you coming to Cameroon?
No, I'm saying if I ever am in Cameroon, I'll have to come and see what you guys are doing. Come and say hello and meet you in person.
Oh, that would be awesome. Wallace, you wouldn't imagine that. That would really be awesome. We're really into it, and we live in those stones unturned. Just trying to develop all the local products, like every little thing that's been cultivated at the local level. We're trying to add value to that product. All we do, we just pick it and try to see as much as we can add value. someone might be comfortable just producing this crop. So, but we just want to encourage that and add value, basically.
Excellent, and I hear the cockerel getting angry. It's brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure, Henry. I appreciate your time. For those of you still listening, if you're enjoying the R2Kast next week, we have another episode, as I said earlier, with Thorfinn Armstrong. Thorfinn will be talking about sort of how you can maybe find some extra money put into research and development for your business, maybe free up some money, and I'll offer a link for you there to speak to Thorfinn if you're interested. But yeah, thank you very much to Henry today. Thank you, Henry. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I hope it's been good fun for you.
Yeah, I did. I really did. Well, thank you. I think I enjoyed myself. Enjoyed talking with you, sir.
No, absolute pleasure.
Okay.
Absolute pleasure. And for those of you listening, check out Fungom Farms. That's FUNGOM on Twitter. There's some great posts on there talking about food security, what they're doing, and just a lot of what Henry's went over today. And we shall see you next week for R2Kast number 94. Very close to that 100th episode now. See you then.
I hope you've enjoyed another excellent episode of the R2Kast. I just want to take this moment to quickly thank our primary sponsors once more, A-Plan Rural. If you follow A-Plan on social media, you'll see the work they're doing to really promote British farming and back our industry. It's been a pleasure working alongside A-Plan Rural so far, and long may it continue. The values of A-Plan Rural runs perfectly in line with the whole mantra of rural to kitchen, and I'm glad to have them on board. Check them out on Instagram at A-Plan Rural and on Facebook at A-Plan Rural Insurance. See you for the next podcast.